One team who would love to have been challenging closely for the title is Arsenal, Rob. We kind of know the story of the season, the injuries, the lack of centre forward that's been sort of put forward as a reason why. It was an really interesting discussion you and Gary had about where Arsenal were and the drop-off and whether they haven't been good enough. I really enjoyed that, and I thought, listen, I can understand both points, and I get where Gary's coming from. I tend to think, and this doesn't sound right, but I tend to feel like the UK perspective is sometimes slightly different from the US perspective, Rob. Whether they're around it more, they're closer to players, or that. I kind of feel it's a UK kind of line that, Arsenal have just got well short again. They're not going in the right direction. Kind of feel that comes when I watch clips of shows over in the UK. Maybe a little bit more less than we do here in the US.
Well, I'll tell you, it's interesting, Rob, because, I think there's a tendency, right, for strong personalities to have a strong opinion about something.
Yeah.
And if they're respected as Gary is in the UK, if he says something weight, strong, it carries weight. And others absolutely kind of like, you know what? I think he's right. I think he's right. And then somebody else will say it.
Which isn't Gary's fault in some respect. It's for people to have their opinion.
Please be independent, though. Please think independently.
It's very healthy to have other opinions or bring up other points. So that's why I enjoyed the debate, Rob. I think you came from one perspective, Gary came from the other. I don't think anybody's necessarily right or wrong. I don't think that's the case. I think you can come from it from two different angles and still agree to disagree. So
let's get your take, Rob. Have they regressed or not? That was the debate.
Can I just go back to part of the debate that I thought was good, where Gary's been, I think, part of 8 titles, is it, or something, and been around maybe 10. Yeah. So in some respects, Rob, where his word carries, and absolutely, he's talked about knowing what it takes to win it and how it takes to win it. But I think he was so much in a special time with an incredible manager, with an incredible group of players. There really was no drop-off for Man United, was it? There was the odd years when they didn't win it by a few points, and Fergie brought somebody in, got them fired up, and they won it again. I think football now and this Arsenal team is a little bit different to those times. And so when I look at Arsenal, and everybody will point to the injuries, they're regressing, they're going further away. The couple of things that I wrote down, Robert, I wrote a little note about the goals. 22-23, 88 goals. Last year, 23, 24, 91 goals. This year, they're on 57 goals, which is about 15. They were 15 below Liverpool at the start of the day. Arsenal haven't necessarily been so short of goals as that's the one thing. They've been short of a centre forward. Now, I'm going to go back to a point I made a few weeks ago. Arsenal have drawn 12 games this season, mate. 12 games. Six games from some winning positions, I think. If they get 6 goals in 6 of those games, so I'm saying a centre forward who isn't scoring or not necessarily counting when you're 1-0 or 2-0 and he gets the 3rd and 4th and his total goes 20, who gets you 6 more wins on those days, that's 12 points, Rob. That would have put Arsenal on 75 points. They have to get a special kind of striker who might be a bit different from what they have. We know what Arsenal do. We know there's an Arsenal style of goal. There's the Saka coming inside and bending. There's the one that they get to the byline with a cutback and a Marino or a Trossard or Odegaard. These like a certain look. I'm saying the centre-forward who might, Rob, be playing on the shoulder and get run and played in. I'm saying the centre-forward who might go from a riot kick like Man City do every now and then to Haaland or McAteers the other day and runs in behind and gets you that goal. It's that is missing for me with Arsenal that makes them the difference between Liverpool, Man City and where they are right now.
Yeah, but we know why some of those draws are draws, and why the results haven't been as good, and why
saying this. People are saying, it's just about the centre forward. It's not just about the centre forward. It's about a certain centre forward, Rob, who's going to produce those moments when this team can play well. And, yesterday, I kind of felt the moment it was 1-1, I didn't fancy Arsenal to win the game. Now, I'm not saying because of who was there, but there's certain games I watch Arsenal and you can't quite see a winner. You can see them playing the lovely football, but it's different in the box. I'm saying they've got to have a guy, Rob, who sometimes might not be as joined up with all the football and the 1 and 2 touch, but he might be on the shoulder, ready to go in behind of a straighter ball or a different way of playing. I think there's got to be a little point of difference to Arsenal to add to what they've got. If we just continue with what Arsenal have got, I still think they might fall a bit short, even with another striker.
All right. So where we agree, and Gary as well, is that the front line at that football club, in terms of what they got in the squad, could need something a little different that you're talking about, right? So let's just make sure we're all on the same page there. Whether it's an Isak, whether it's a Sesko or something else up there. Oh, we all agree. My point was, this season, I feel it's harsh to say they've regressed when their best player, their Mo Salah of the team, has been out for 3 months. And Martin Odegaard was out for a couple of months, wasn't he? And Kai Havertz, who got good numbers last year,
the goals,
with those set pieces. I don't forget about last year, Rob. The set pieces was like having another player. They scored 91 goals. The point was, you can't say they've regressed when they've got 3 of their best players have been out for massive chunks of the season. It's like
I
Mo
wouldn't
Salah
say they've regressed. Correct. But I would also, my point may be more together. I still think with that group of players, they'd been a bit short. They'd have fell a bit short.
Well, yeah, I mean, they're second. They're second in the league.
Yeah, but I know where they are, and I know why they are. I'm trying to say to you that. How can I say?
Well, it goes back to the injuries are going to happen, right? So, we can argue about.
If they go and sign Brian Mbeumo or Wissa, who were 2 players who played today. Let's just say they could go into that team and score 15 to 20 goals. I'm not sure they win you the title. I'm not sure that wins you the title because they'll get their goals from the way Arsenal play. I want a centre-forward who can manufacture a couple of things himself if it's one of those days that the football's not going so great or it's not working so well. He's got to bring a different element to the Arsenal front line as well as what they've got.
Yeah, in an ideal world, Rob, in an ideal world, they can bring a striker in that adds that number of goals and that little bit of specialness that you're talking about. And we all agree on that. But they score with all different parts of the team. Even Liverpool, their top goal scorer as a striker, I think is less than 10, isn't it? I think Jota's not got double figures.
Oh yeah.
Darwin Núñez. So you can still be champion without a big crazy 20-goal a season striker when you've got the scoring wingers. And Arsenal have got scoring wingers. And they got Havertz, they got set pieces. But I don't agree.
Yeah, have they got enough scoring wingers? Have they got enough in there? Saka, yes. Is Martinelli going to show us yet that he's got enough? Not yet, Rob. He's not shown consistent.
I know. We're not sure whether he can do it season in, season
Havertz,
out.
We're saying is going to be 10 to 15 in that role if he plays, or if he goes in at 10, is he slightly different? Is he 8 to 10? So what I'm saying is, I get what you're saying, but I still think we're slightly different in what we see as the centre forward and what he's got to do. I can't kind of explain it well enough for you to understand what I'm saying, but I'm kind of saying like, the Haaland-esque strike, and I know he's a one-off, but doesn't actually get. Everybody tells you how many touches he doesn't have under there. When the ball's in the back, when they want to go direct, when they want to think, that guy comes up with things that win you games, that wins you title. Yeah. That's what I'm saying. I think Arsenal maybe need. Yeah. Now, I'm not sure whether Mikel Arteta might look at that play and he might go, oh, he doesn't quite fit because he's not a good enough footballer. I'm saying I'd just be a bit careful about going down the road of another good footballer who doesn't bring you those 8 to 10 moments that are going to be the difference makers.
Yeah, I think Gary, kind of to finish this off, Robbie, he sort of compared the front players of Arsenal against the front players.
Yeah, it was a very good point actually,
and the others, and he wasn't sure whether they're as productive as some of the others. And that,
it's a good point.
It is a good point, and there still are question marks about that.
Yeah,
I would just say, with a bit more patience. You think about how this team's evolved, Rob. They've got a great goalkeeper. Their defence now is better. It's the best defence in the league. You got Mars Lewis Skelly. You got Jurgen Timber that makes them better. Plus those two central defenders and the goalkeeper.
Yeah,
midfield is pretty. They got. I mean, whether Thomas Partey's got a big future there, whether they might get somebody else. The wingers, the Trossards and the Martinelli and
Rice, Odegaard. It's good.
Yeah, but one more. So now is time. What I'm saying is now is time to add to the front line, the very front line. Add another player of quality, and then if you're lucky with injuries, then maybe you've got enough to get over the line. So we're in agreement, that they need to strengthen that area.
Yeah, maybe.
But
maybe
I can't. I was reacting to
the regress. Yeah, the regress line. Well, it was like was it a year ago? So the bottling. And that wasn't the right word.
No, it wasn't.
It's not quite there yet.
Yeah.
Let's quickly quickly throw it to Wednesday, though, because they've got an important game on Wednesday, mate. They're 3-0 up, going to Madrid. Is it over, my friend?
No,
if did it score in the first 20 minutes?
No,
it ain't, is it?
I don't think it's over. I mean, particularly if at what point? Because Real Madrid is so dangerous and they're so fast, and that atmosphere.
It's going to be incredible there.
They've done it. They've won in so many different ways in this competition that even if it's 0-0. I mean, if Arsenal score the first goal,
if Arsenal get a goal, then game on. With that defensive structure, it's looking as good as it can get.
Yeah. But if Real Madrid score early in the first 20 minutes, my goodness, they get one more, and then they'll think they're going to get
2 before half time, and then it's on, isn't it?
Brilliant, it's great. I mean, it's
massive game, brilliant game, massive game for Mikel Arteta. Yeah, looking forward to that one. Midweek.
Hi, I'm Rebecca Lowe, and as we head towards the end of an exciting Premier League season, make sure you like and subscribe on the NBC Sports YouTube channel for more content like this.